The Formula One in cross-country skiing is only half an hour away. We're getting ready for the for the sprint event where anything can happen, competing head-to-head with 5 other crazy racers, and you're not safe until you cross the finish line. Welcome to the first gold medal event here in Seefeld. And it's another beautiful day here in Seefeld. Now it's 8 degrees. It's keep rising. A little more wind, 8 kilometers per hour. This is like Canadian summer for you, Devin.
Exactly. I don't think we've had many days like this up in northern Norway in the last, I don't know, many years.
Okay, we just in the prologue, 30 men and women are through to the knockout stages, and we have some magnificent heats. Like look at the ladies first.
Yeah.
Because that's heat number 1. Oh. That's like
heat number 1
it could be the final.
Oh, heat number 1 is totally stacked. You got Caldwell, Nielsen, Skista. Those are all picks of mine to go deep into this competition. So it's going to be full gas right from the first heat today for the women.
And you see Falla in heat number 2. What's the biggest difference between heat number 1 and 2? Because you could get less rest.
Yeah, the reason why everyone wants to crowd into heat 1 is you have more rest, and the thinking goes, the more rest you have, the better energy you have later on in the race.
Yeah, and let's look at heat 1 for the guys. That's a crazy heat. Ustigov, Krogh, Klæbo.
Oh yeah, Ustigov, Krogh, Klæbo. I mean,
you will use a favorite.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the reality is they're hoping that they're going to have a really fast time, and then they're going to qualify 3 minimum or probably 4 men through to the next round. It's usually like that. The first heat is usually fastest, and when you have beasts like Ustigov and Klæbo really drilling it, I would probably imagine that would happen again today, but you never know, and that's the beauty of the sprint.
Yeah, and the reigning champion, Federico Pellegrino, in heat number 2. But let's go back to the championship in Lahti in 2017 and the sprint. And as always, it was a tight race for the medals.
Set.
What's the biggest difference, Devon, between the sprint track in Lahti compared to the sprint track in Seefeld?
Oh, the sprint track in Lahti for the ladies was a lot more punishing, a lot more grindy. This track, again, like I said earlier today, don't be fooled by this elevation profile. It is a rather flat track. It's fast, around 2.5 minutes. Space is at a premium, so you're going to see a lot of tight races today for the women.
Who will you favor if it's an easy track?
I favor so many names for the women. It's a wide open race. But for me, when you see Dahlqvist qualify in first, you got to feel good about that. Stina, 12th after a month break, like you said. That's a really strong position. Diggins, I love her grit. She's just so good. Never say die. We saw on that graphic there. Bib 19 in Lahti. She qualified 19th in Lahti. Finishes second. I tip her to be quite strong today. And Maiken Kaspersen Falla from Norway. Not only is she Norwegian, she's also the reigning champion. So it's gonna be tight.
But were you surprised that Maja Dahlqvist won the prologue?
In some ways, yes, because she hasn't been as strong in the prologues this year as she was today. But at the same time, 5 World Cup podiums this season already. She's obviously a major, major threat anytime she slaps into her skis or clicks into her skis. Hopefully she's not slapping skis today. She's got to use all that energy effectively. Yeah. But no, I wasn't that surprised that she was up there. I was a little surprised she won. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the big favorite. Well, she used to be the biggest favorite before she tore her hamstring in Otepää. Stina Nilsson. Back today, first competition in 1 month. Can you read anything out of the prologue for Stina Nilsson?
You know, qualifying 12th, it's a solid start. It's a really, really solid start to the day. You know, we tried to get an interview, like you said. She's laughing. She still has a pretty light vibe around her. I think she's feeling good. I think it's a great, great platform to start the real races in the heats. Stina Nilsson has been so strong tactically this year. Yes, she's qualified better than 12th in the previous skate sprints, but she is coming back from injury, and with such a tight course like this, I really favor an athlete like Stina who is so strong tactically when space is limited.
Okay, a fairly decent and not so hard race course for the ladies. Let's talk about the men's race course, because the guy who came in here after prologue, they were all out of breath.
Yeah, the men's race course is something a little different. It's a shade under 3 minutes long, and it is punishing absolutely. A lot of guys complaining that they're not only out of breath, but they can feel it in their lungs. You see here, it is rather similar to the ladies' sprint course. You go out the same way, but instead of turning right here and going back to the stadium, you climb this giant grindy climb. You speed down the hill at 60 kilometers an hour, bust into your free skate, and this is where it all happens. There's only one line through that up and down, and then you're screaming towards the finish.
Okay, and everyone was, they thought they went so slow. All the skaters, the skiers, think they went so slow, even the one who qualified.
Yeah, I mean...
Because well, you're out of breath quite early in this race.
Yeah, exactly. What differentiates this course to a lot of other sprint courses is you have the bulk of the work comes early. And what that means is you have to find that balance, because if you go out too hard, your legs turn to absolute lead, and it's hard to go 60 kilometers an hour down a hill, Karsten, with lead legs. But at the same time, if you're a little too passive, you're going to get burned on that, and somebody is going to exploit that. We saw that last year with Emil Iversen. Too passive early in the final, finishes 6th. So it's about finding that balance, and it is tricky.
And also a Swedish victory in the prologue. Victor Thorn. He was tied with just Yogo for like half an hour, then they changed it, so he won by 0.01 second.
Yeah, I mean, Victor Thorn, what a surprise. That's the surprise of the day for me. I never would have guessed. I mean, he's been sprinting half decent. Like he said in the FIS interview there, he's made it into the semifinals only once before in his life, and he shows up here in Seefeld, and he is leading the qualification, or he led the qualification and has won it. So I am madly impressed with the young Swede, but the guys nipping at his heels, they have a lot of experience. They have sore necks from all the medals that have been hung around their necks. So it's going to be tough for Victor Thorn to take the gold medal today, but he did the best he could. He's got a great start here.
Okay, and also the reigning champion, Federico Pellegrino, safely through to the quarterfinals in Heat 2. Let's listen to what he had to say about this day. Federico, we are so looking forward to the duel between you and Klæbo. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, but I know that the battle is not only against him. There are so many athletes strong, and let me see. But I know that I'm ready with the body, okay, but even with the mind. I kept a lot of energies by my people Saturday in Konya in the last World Cup race, so I really want to be good.
To go into the championship, you won the last sprint race. Do you feel confident?
I feel confident, but I even know that the Norwegians top athletes were not there, so and even other athletes. So I know that the person who has to win this race is Klæbo, and I just have to try to be ready in the case that he is not at his 100%.
So all the pressure is on him.
I think so, even because nobody won two sprint gold medal in the history. So I really want to be the first one, but I even know that it's not so easy. So let me see tomorrow inside the fence what happens.
Yeah, and Pellegrino can today do something no man has ever done before to defend his gold, because no one has ever won back-to-back world championship titles in sprint.
Yeah, it is impressive. I mean, Pellegrino has a great chance here. The first sprint ever contested, Lahti 2001, my ex-coach, Tor Arne Hetland, good friend of mine, won in his real confident style in that last famous corner in Lahti to take the first ever gold medal, but he couldn't get it done in 2003. It is so hard to defend a sprint title because there is just so much that can happen. It doesn't take a lot of time. You can't just do it once like the prologue. You have to do it 4 times. Quarterfinal, semifinal, final. After you've already done the prologue, lots of opportunity for madness and mayhem to happen.
And look at this. We will be right back from sunny Seefeld, and then we will hear from the reigning Olympic champion in sprint, Johannes Seefeld Klæbo, and of course the Swedish sensation and the gold medal hope for Sweden, Stina Nilsson. We'll be right back. World Nordic Ski Championship here in Seefeld, and we are getting ready for the quarterfinals in the sprint. But first of all, let's go to our reporter Gunnar Tollnes, who are together with some Swedish fans.
Okay, we are outside the stadium at the moment. We found someone who is, I guess, really happy after the prologue, because you are obviously a Swedish fan and they did pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. We are cheering for Maja Dahlqvist, yeah. We think she's gonna make the gold medal, yeah.
You think so?
We have a lot of Norwegian fans here, and I think that we're gonna be a little bit unsatisfied, yeah?
So you are standing by Norwegians, your neighbor country, and you also have a Norwegian hat on. So what country do you vote for?
Sweden.
Yeah. What do you think about your gold chances today?
Big.
Big?
Yeah, Maja.
Maja Dahlqvist is the thing.
Okay. Very big.
What about the boys?
The boys will, maybe they're gonna take a shower and a little bit sauna, yeah? You never know. The boys, yeah, vielleicht.
And
I don't think so, no.
How is it to stand here in the sun at Seefeld with this beautiful landscape?
Oh, it's marvelous. It's great, yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
And voting for a good day today?
Yeah, it's better place. This is very nice.
Okay, best of luck to Sweden and Norway and all the rest of the countries that's going to go into the quarters now, Karsten.
Yeah!
Well, if you have a Swedish hat and a Norwegian hat and a Swedish jersey, you're probably going to celebrate some gold medals. But this is the favorites for today, Devon.
Yeah, this is my podium. This is my podium that I picked. I'm sure I'll get a little bit of pushback here, but Stina Nilsson, I'm putting her in. 4 skate sprints don't lie. Jessie Diggins, like I said earlier, we saw in Konya, it's never stay die with Diggins. She is gritty. And then the youngster, Shista, world junior champion, she has poise. You saw her there picking the first heat. She doesn't care. I'll go with Stina Nilsson, whatever. And I love that aggression. I love that confidence. And she's my outsider pick for that bronze medal.
Because that's an outsider. I mean, she's the junior. You saw her in Lahti when she won. What does she have that maybe Falla doesn't have?
Oh, well, you know what? Falla is a great, great athlete. But Falla on the gritty courses like in Lahti, she was so good. But this is just so fast. I saw it at the Norwegian Championship. Fala was having a hard time moving her way through the pack. She was laying a little tense, had sharp elbows, but was just going back and forth, where she thought was skiing with real poise. And she's a taller woman. She takes up a lot of room. There's only one good line in this short, fast sprint course here for the women, and I think Kista is here to surprise a few.
Yeah, and we skated behind her the other day, and when she exploded, that went fast.
Oh, yeah. When she accelerates, like you're saying, Karsten, 2-3 pole plants, it's almost reminiscent of Petter Northug back in the days. She can just bring so much acceleration in such a short time, and when you're a little taller, you take up a little more space on the track, and you have that in your back pocket to use. You get around 1-2 people, and then they can get around you again because the race is too short and you're at the finish line ahead of them.
Okay, but the big favorite is Stina Nilsson. She's, as we said, been on for almost a month. There have been some questions about the Swedish sensation, but she feels pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
Have a look at the right leg. Yeah, that's a big stretch.
The first days were not so easy. I had a lot of pain in my in the back of my leg, but when I started to do the rehab training, it started to ease the pain, and I could do more and more in training.
Did you really believe that you would stand here today?
I'm born optimistic, so somewhere deep inside me I always hoped and believed so, but everyone around me told me that maybe you should start to realize that maybe you can't stand on the start line. So that was really hard for me to hear, but I was also even more motivated to do the rehab training to be able to stand here. I took it very good, and I was like over-inspired every day to do the training and to do what I could do. So I have had 4 great weeks, and I've been motivated and more inspired than ever.
Stina Nilsson, IFK Mora. Ebba Andersson, Sollefteå skidor. Här snälla Stina. Stina här, NRK. Den vägen här.
I'm so proud of myself for being here. So that's a huge win for me.
That was the women. This is the favorite, your favorite, Devon, for the men's podium. Is that the order?
yeah, very unoriginal, I know. These were the top 3 only 2 short years ago, but I've just changed the order up a bit to keep it exciting. Listen, Johannes Klæbo is so good. I'm reading nothing into his qualifier today. I still pick him for the win. Federico Pellegrino, like, he is so good in the free skating. He's so good in the pack. He has so much experience. And the Russian bear himself, Sergei Ustyugov, sorry, he's obviously shown today that he is right back up in this, and he's my pick for bronze.
And you haven't even mentioned Finnhagen Krog. You haven't mentioned any of the Swedes.
Oh, exactly. I mean, this sprint is so heavily contested, both for the men and the women. And like you said, in the men, you have Shavana, you have Finnhagen Krog, you have Emil Iversen. He was in the final here last year, made some tactical errors. I'm sure he's hungry to make right on that. And then you have Sindre Skar, you have Richard Jouve. The French is a really strong sprint team here as well. So there's a lot of guys that can contest, and anything can happen out there.
All right, but your big favorite is the 22-year-old Norwegian Johannes Klæbo. He made his championship debut in Lahti 2 years ago. Then he got the bronze. This year, he's aiming for gold.
I think it's a difficult track for sure. The middle part with the long downhill is quite difficult, and I think it will, favorites people with the good downhill technique. And yeah, I think it's difficult, but for sure it's hard as well, because to have this, I think it's 1 minute and 20 seconds to the top as well. So yeah, I think it's hard, and it will be really interesting to see.
Every track suits him, looks like, if we look at the results. So I think also the climb up to the top in the start, yeah, he will be and can be in the front. And we also see that his downhill technique is always top. So I'm not afraid. If something I've been afraid about him is be involved in a crash or something, for sure. But I think he's in good shape and very well performed.
For me, I'm just trying to keep ahead and to the top there, and yeah, try to be good from there into the finish, and yeah, I'll try my best.
And Klæbo, he won here in Seefeld last year in the sprint, and Devon has been to our magic room. Now he's going to show you how you win or lose this sprint.
As we've seen countless times before, Johannes bursts out of the start, uses explosivity to take the lead here. He wants to take the lead because he wants to slow the pace down. We're heading towards the one and only big climb on this course, and it's paramount to save your energy for the last 30, 45 seconds of this race where it all matters. You can see they're driving Miss Daisy, everyone's being patient, but they're really jumpy too. They don't want to take the lead down this hill. Klæbo's looking over, he's looking over, and as you can see, Johannes is just begging Kalle right here. Kalle's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Am I going to take the lead? Klæbo's like, please, please, please take the lead down this hill so I can draft you and use that momentum to just torch you to the finish line. What do you think's going to happen? Exactly. Kalle loses his cool, takes the lead, and ends up destroying any chance he has of winning this race. He's heading down the hill at least 50 kilometers an hour, and the draft is just so massive at those speeds. You see these big boys behind him. You have Pellegrino, world champion. You have Johannes Klæbo, the best sprinter, and Chavana. They're all just sitting in his slipstream waiting to pounce. And as they pounce, it's just game over for Kalle Halvorsen. He's completely boxed in. He has absolutely no chance with Chavana on his left, Pellegrino on his right, and Klæbo in the pole position. There's no way he's going to get back in this race for the win. Johannes has the shortest line to the finish as he takes this hill right on the inside. If you look at how amazing this is for Johannes, it is absolutely unbelievable. He has the shortest line to go. You have Kalle. He's fighting for his life for a podium position. And look at Iversen back here. He's been caught completely out. He is skiing 90, 100 meters further than Johannes Klæbo, and that is no way to win the sprint race. Johannes holds that lead. He's coming around this corner, this candlestick at the top of the course. There's only about 20 seconds left in this race. What do you think happens? Johannes wins like always. I tip my hat to Kalle Halvorsen. The tactical error results in a bronze medal for Sweden, and Emil Iversen a long way back in sixth because he waited just too long.
Klæbo won last year. So will that mean, Devon, that it's going to be a waiting game on top of the biggest hill here?
It's hard to say. I mean, the work comes so early. I would expect it to play out a little bit like that in the final, but guys get jumpy and guys think they can be a hero. And also, maybe there's guys that are feeling so good and they want to take it right from the start and think that they can have 2, 3, 4 seconds over the top of the hill, because I think that's what you're going to need if you want to stay away in the lead.
Yeah, a lot of Norwegians and Swedes here in the Seefeld. But tell us about the environment inside the field. Is it like rough elbows, people fighting for the spaces?
Oh, absolutely. In the sprint, men and women, there is just not a lot of space. You got to have short elbows. If you see a little bit of white, you got to take it. You have to take that space, and you can't look back. You can say sorry after. It's really ready, fire, aim out there. I mean, there's just not enough room to play nice.
And also something else, the pace, will it be like a slow quarterfinal, a slow semifinal, and then a fast final, or you just hammer it down from the day one here?
Oh, it's just so hard to know because every heat is different. Different guys in every heat, different women in every heat. They have their own tactics that they're trying to work out that they've done with their team. You just never know. I would imagine the quarterfinals will be very hotly contested, very tight. But then again, as you get deeper and deeper, it seems to get more and more tactical because then it starts to mean something. Then those medals are on the line and everybody knows that.
We see Hannah Falk, one of the outsiders today. And so Sophie Caldwell, you talked about her, maybe she can win it, but let's see. We'll be right back from Seefeld with the quarterfinals.
Well, welcome back to Seefeld, waiting for the start of the first round of the women's sprint event after a thrilling qualification an hour and a half ago. The Americans will be delighted. They've got 4 through to the final. So have Slovenia, Norway, Sweden, Germany. Only 8 nations out of the 60 here getting an athlete into the last 30 of the women's. No Finns, Mike, have made it through to the top 30.
It's a big surprise, it really is. And but strong nations, Slovenia 4, Norway 4, Sweden 4, America 4, Germany. I'm very impressed with the German team. That's something of a surprise. All 4 athletes making it through to the final.
Well, there is the lineup for the first of the heats, and it is a pretty high-class heat. Lucia Scardoni, who's had a couple of really good runs recently in the World Cup, might find she has taken on a bit too much here. Julia Berukova, who won the very first sprint of the year in Ruka. Can she find winning ways again? Skistat of Norway, the new star in the Norwegian team. And very bold to go in group number 1. Katja Viznar of Slovenia. 4 Slovenians getting through to the last 30, all of them qualifying in the top 10. And then Sophie Caldwell of the USA. The Americans with a good record to maintain. They got silver and bronze last time in Lahti. And Stina Nielsen, back from injury, but back in style.
She certainly is, Patrick, and she's got the status. She's done so well this season before that injury, so there's a slight concern for me that she's a little race rusty. Yes, she's been doing all the intervals and the prep, but just the pressure and the pack racing here.
So we're underway, the first medal event of the championships here in Seefeld. This is the first round. They have the semis and the finals still to come. Will it be tactical or will it be all out like we saw in the qualifying? Skistat goes to the front, showing good speed. Actually, looks as though she's racing like Klæbo. She's learned from the great master. Get to the front, slow it down.
Take it out fast. That may well play into her hands, but it's very, very slow. So at the moment, in my opinion, there'll only be 2 coming out of this heat. I expect some of the next heats will be faster to this point.
Well, Skistat has good turn of pace. That will favour her on the second climb. Here they go. It's halfway up, 200 metres short of where the men go to. And Skistat still leading. Number 4 on the right-hand side, Sophie Caldwell of the United States. 2 wins in the World Cup in her career. Can she get the big one here today? She's certainly shown that sort of form this year, lying 4th in the World Cup standings and painfully slow.
Well, Skistat is deceptive. Such a tall, very strong athlete. It looks slow, it looks easy. And I do think some of the next heats coming up will be faster to this point, but you just expect this thing to explode very, very soon. Pace will pick up.
Well, we'll get a good understanding.
There we go.
When they come across the line, 2:29.44, the fastest qualifying time. By my reckoning, they're some way outside that. Stina Nielsen ups the pace. Skistat has no choice but to go with her.
So this is where, even though it's flat, we talked about it earlier, there is no rest. You're tucking low, it superloads your legs, arm muscles are recovered. Skistat, I think, perfect strategy. Get in behind Stina Nielsen.
But she's just been squeezed on the outside a little. Slovenian number 8, that's Katja Viznar, trying to get the inside line, and still Skistat is in the perfect position, because if she comes round the top of the climb in second place, she can use the slipstream into the finish. Look at Nielsen looking very, very strong. And still Caldwell in second. Skistat drops to 3rd. This is her opportunity to make up a little bit of ground. Only 2 going through from this heat if the pace is as slow as we think it is. Here they come, down the final hill and into the home straight.
Great work from Sophie Caldwell. That's all she needs to do, tuck in, and now she has to go wide. Skistat coming back strong in the final 50.
Still Stina Nielsen leading, and Skistat starting to make ground on the left-hand side of your screen. I think Skistat's going to get the win. A lunge for the line with the left leg from Stina Nielsen, and it's going to be a photo finish, no doubt about that. Question is, did Caldwell do enough to go through? Skistat gets top spot from our position. Nielsen right in there with a photo finish. Caldwell in 3rd, 0.2 of a second behind. Mike, Skistat, she's young, yes, precocious, yes, but that was a brilliantly tactical race.
You know, she seems to be super confident in her own ability, fearless to group and select Group 1 alongside the current Olympic champion, and she played a very, very economical and relaxed game to come through and qualify.
Well, Skistat out of that picture nearer the camera. There's the difference.
She's got it.
There is the difference, and she takes the Olympic champion in the first heat. There's a confidence booster if ever you needed one. But what I quite like, Mike, at the top of the second climb, she didn't panic. She let that gap grow to about 7-8 meters. She knew the slipstream would draw her up with the leaders.
Supreme confidence.
And the other thing you noticed about Skistad, Mike, is when the two leaders, Caldwell and Nielsen, started working with 150 meters to go, she stayed down in the tuck. She started working with the arms 3 or 4 strides later than the others. That can make all the difference.
Incredible, and it was deceptive. I think that Skistad, so tall, so strong, she made it look like a gentle pace. It was actually rather fast in the early stages.
Elisa Brocard for Italy goes in heat number 2 alongside her, Natalia Neprayeva. And Neprayeva having a good season, but has she got the form at the moment to get herself through to the semi-finals? She's got some pretty tough competition. The defending champion for one, Maiken Kaspersen-Faller, full of smiles, but it's not really been a happy season for her.
It hasn't. She certainly looked sparky and alive earlier.
Urvets, brilliant in qualifying yet again, but has she learned how to win a sprint event? We'll find out today. Jonna Sundling's done it. She won in Lillehammer at the very beginning of the season, but hasn't really threatened to win again since then.
Yeah, Sundling, again in the qualifying, she looked very confident, very easy. Did finish in 20th position. Was she saving some energy?
So we're underway with the second heat, and the winning time from the last heat, 2:35.47. Lucky losers at the moment, Caldwell and Belarukova, 2:37.38. It's hard to believe that's going to be good enough when you consider that the fastest qualifying time was 2:29, and this pace looks a little stiffer than we saw in that first heat.
It certainly does. The pace is picking up. I did expect Faller to try and attack from the front. She buys herself safety and visual comfort up the front. And the women's course, let's be honest, is very simple in terms of profile, but so difficult in terms of strategy. And it's a safe strategy to go out front, but it's also a dangerous strategy because you can easily be passed as you descend down the first climb coming up soon on the flat sections. Spread field already. This is much faster.
We'll make a note of the time to the turn, just around 57.5 seconds.
And as maybe expected, Faller's wanting space. She's wanting to secure safety and get through, but it's always hard work when you take the lead for so long.
Yeah, this course doesn't really suit Faller, does it? You know, she can do all the work and everyone else can benefit from it, just as is happening here. But Faller wants to reduce the chance of getting caught. Collisions, breakages, always possible in these sprint events.
And I think with Faller, such light body weight, she would prefer a very hilly, undulating track, but it is what it is, and she's really positive to take this lead for so long.
The ability to free skate along that flat section, so important. Faller still leading, and she's got the good line. Sundling trying to go around the outside in the white suit of Sweden. Belarukova still, Neprayeva, sorry, there for Russia, wearing 9. And 24, Brocard of Italy struggling a bit, as is Pullers of Estonia, the last to qualify. And Faller yet to be headed. Now this will be interesting, Mike. Faller, she's done enough racing to know that it's better to be in second than first. We'll see whether it costs her.
And I like the way that Faller really worked more than anybody else down that descent, desperate to get that 10-meter gap to prevent the wind drafting.
There you go with a high-tempo free skate, and it seems to have done the work for Faller. She wanted an honest pace, and she got exactly that. Still leading, Sundling of Sweden in second place. Neprayeva lunges for the line. A photo finish, but I think Neprayeva just left that lunge a fraction too late.
5.5 seconds, Patrick. 5.5 seconds faster than the first heat. Which was led, of course, by Skistad. It played into her strategy to take it out slow, and she was very fortunate, I think, to cross that line, well, in first position. That was her plan. Which means Sophie Caldwell maybe not get through in terms of lucky loser. This one was so fast,
231.6. Yes, Caldwell, I think, is going to find herself out. 235.6 for Caldwell. That's really, really disappointing. But they've only got themselves to blame. They could quite easily have upped the pace. When you've got Nielsen and Skistad in the same group, you don't hang around.
But Skistad, she seems to have aura, you know, and everyone was in the slipstream of the... She was walking around like a champion before the race, and I think she intimidated all of the rest of the first heat.
So let's have a look at the standings. Falla Sundling safely through 230.1. Nepraeva in a lucky loser position at the moment, as is Elisa Brokar, 231.68, now the slowest of the lucky losers position. Here's the lineup for Heat 3. Feindrich, who looked brilliant in qualifying. Hannah Falk is there as well. Greta Laurent, the best chance for the Italians, I feel, today. We've got Gimler of Germany, Mari Eider of Norway, and Sophie Krell of Germany, who qualified in 27th. There's Mari Eider. And if you haven't guessed it, there are thousands upon thousands of Norwegians here in Seefeld this week for these championships. Laura Gimler, Germany, Mike, another nation to get 4 qualified. They'll be delighted.
It's impressive. They seem to really have lifted their game, but Feindrich on form last week in Italy, absolutely in form again here, but her strategies don't always work out well.
Hannah Falk, 4 World Cup wins. She'd forget all about them, and she'd swap them all for a win here today. Greta Laurent of Italy. The Italians, they cannot wait to see Pellegrino go in the men's knockout phases, hoping that he gets through to defend his title. So, Heat 3 underway.
I was just wondering, Patrick, on the lineup, who's going to take the initiative? And the real fighter out there is Hannah Falk. Is she going to take it on? I think she probably will, and of course she is second fastest from this heat in qualifying, in 3rd place. So this, on paper, you'd expect to challenge the previous fastest heat here, set by Falla at 2:30.11. But it's slowed down now a little with Feindrich going to the front.
Well, we'll get a measure of the pace when they get to the top of the first climb. 57.5, the time for the last group. That was some 4 seconds quicker than the first heat, which was completely and utterly controlled by Christine Storvas Skistad of Norway.
Feindrich, she said in an interview earlier that she struggled a little with her head in terms of tight pack racing, and I like what she's done here. She's got the raw speed, and she should have the confidence to lead it, but taking that corner extremely wide.
Yeah, they're 4 seconds down, so this is more like the pace we saw from the first heat. So I think we can assume that Nepraeva and Brokar will remain the lucky losers after this.
Good work there into the flat. So flat, you tend to think flat is easy. It's not. You need to kick strong, compress very, very firmly through your edges to take pace along here, and you need to tuck low to prevent the wind draft.
Now they pick up the pace as they come in front of the stands. It's a long, long flat section where the free skating is an essential skill. Norway's Mari Eider in the perfect position at the moment, only qualified in 25th position.
Look at Feindrich, the long way round again. She's way over to the left coming up this hill. It's a much, much longer journey. She's going to try and chop through now if she can. She has. Great pace there. She needs to tuck into the right, yes.
Good skiing from Falk as well. Well, certainly 3, 4 women still in this one. Look, Greta Laurent of Italy down in 4th place at the moment. Just ahead of her is Norway's Mari Eider, who was leading up the climb. It's Feindrich who leads down into the stadium. Hannah Falk carries some good speed with the slipstream behind the Swiss athlete. And it's still Feindrich, but keep an eye on the near side because Mari Eider is coming beautifully well. Great skiing, great tactics, and 3rd place down the hill once again takes top spot. That's very interesting.
Very, very. And there is a slight wind today. I know it was only 5 kilometers an hour, but you can see the wind blowing the hair of the athletes. It's significant coming into this home straight.
So Ida is through, Feindrich is through, and Hanna Falk of Sweden, big surprise. She is out the time, 2:36, so no lucky losers from that heat. Nepreva and Brokar remain the two lucky losers at the moment. Feindrich, Mike, had to go the long way round, as you said, but she did the work to get herself in front. But what about Mari Ida?
Yeah, fantastic strategy. She didn't panic on the descent, glided up and passed them on the final 20.
Well, I don't know about you, but I can tell you that this knockout racing has got us on the edge of our seats. It's absolutely fascinating, the tactics being employed. This is heat number 4, and Tiril Udnes Veng goes for Norway. Maja Dahlqvist, the fastest qualifier earlier today. Can she break that duck and get herself a win? Sadie Bjornsson, she's got to make up for the fact that Caldwell has already been knocked out for the United States, and they were certainly hoping to take medals in this one. So Dahlqvist, Veng, Sadie Bjornsson, Shevasek of Slovenia, Matvieva of Russia, and then Victoria Karl of Germany in the middle of this group.
Well, Patrick, it's certainly on out-and-out track time. The absolute favourite is Dahlqvist here. She's almost got 4 seconds on the rest of the field from the run out this morning. And maybe that does hand the responsibility to take the lead. But depends what our coaches have talked about. I wouldn't want to take the lead. She's got the out-and-out pace. Save it till later, as in save it for the semis and the finals. And I think that's maybe what she's employing.
Tiril Udnes Veng almost forced to the front because Maja Dahlqvist not really interested. And Dahlqvist on the inside of the turn, which will be handy as they get to the top of this hill. 57.5, the fastest round the turn so far, and this looks just a fraction slower, but not far off the pace we saw in heat number 2.
It is fast. Dahlqvist just making sure that she's safe. Maja Dahlqvist, and this is where she sets herself up a little, taking all that pace down this descent. It's not a fast descent. So then this is where the leg work, tuck low and free skating coming up soon.
In so many sprints we've had this year, particularly in the women's, Mike, we've seen by this stage the halfway marker, 3 or 4 athletes out the back. It's not happening here because you get the group effect as they come down the hills. Dahlqvist stays low for a very long time. Speed skating would have been some good training for this sprint.
Certainly would. Tucking low, as you say, but now Dahlqvist needs to react because they're coming around her and close in behind her.
Everyone trying to get the inside line. And Tiril Udnes Veng, it'd be interesting to see whether she's done for obstruction there, because there's no doubt that Dahlqvist had to put the brakes on. But does she want to lead round the top? I'm not sure she does.
Look at Victoria Karl, the slowest on paper in this group, but the most fearless. She wants the front, and that's a very good place to be right now.
But is it? Is it? We'll see. Is Karl going to find herself through into the final?
You need a gap. You need 10 metres, and Karl is trying to buy that. Otherwise, you do get that slingshot around this bend.
Well, I think Dahlqvist in third is still in a very good position, but she's cut the line tight, and that usually cuts off some of the speed. 2 of the winners out of the 3 have gone on the outside, and it's Norway's Veng who leads at the moment. Now Dahlqvist starts to pick the pace up on the outside, and Victoria Karl can find herself being raced out of this one. Oh, good lunge from the German. She's made it. Oh. So Dahlqvist goes through. So does Karl. And Veng, Tiril Udnes Veng, 233.5, just missing out. Well, that was good strength from Karl.
Karl had an amazing strategy there. To skate too, she used all her upper body strength and took it wide, was fearless, blocked the track. It's not illegal, but didn't allow Dahlqvist to come through.
When they came off that final downhill, Mike, Dahlqvist and Veng, they didn't hang back. They didn't hang back enough to be able to build their speed up, so they lost all the advantage of their position.
Okay, we're here with Johanna Sundling. Congratulations, moving on to the semi-final. How's the course skiing out there today?
Thank you. It's very soft, so it doesn't go so fast downhill, but the track is very good.
And how's the atmosphere? It seems just so crazy loud here. There just seems to be such a big difference between a World Championship and just a World Cup.
Yeah, it really is, because it's so many people here and watching us today, so it's nice, and the weather is very good too. So.
Congratulations and good luck moving forward.
Thank you.
We're here with Mariida. Congratulations. What an amazing tactical move coming from third and then securing a spot in the semi at Worlds.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. I'm so happy. And my skis was fantastic. And I know I have a strong finish, so I keep this tactic, yeah, in the semifinals.
Nice. Congratulations and good luck moving forward.
Thanks.
So the final first round heat. The only Czech to have made it through in the top 30, Tereza Baranova. Julia Kern, perhaps a surprise qualifier for the last 30.
Chopping the arms off her ski suit, rolling the sleeves up, meaning business here.
Anna-Marie Lampitz, the fastest qualifier in this last heat. Jessie Diggins, the team sprint Olympic champion. And she got that title alongside Keegan Randall. Sandra Ringvald, who's looked good in the last couple of weeks, 14th 2 years ago in Lahti. And Lorian van der Graaf, who won the pre-World Championship sprint event here, tied with Sophie Caldwell, who has already been knocked out.
Quite must be a huge disappointment for Caldwell. She would not have expected that going in Group 1. So who's going to take the initiative here? They will know that the time to beat is still 2:30. I think it is just at 2:30 dead. So it needs to be a fast heat. Should more than 2 make it through into the semi. And I think it is being set very, very fast here by Lampitz, buying herself the safety at the front, but always buying yourself as the moving target, really. You're the one that the rest can get tucked in behind, dragged along. Here comes Jess Diggins, though, on the wide left side, bringing with her teammate.
2:31.68, the slowest lucky loser position at the moment. Again, they need to round this climb, summit the climb in around 57 seconds to be in a competitive position, and this looks even quicker than heat number 4.
Jess, sorry, going the safe way around, but it's slightly longer. She'll want to tuck in now to the left side. Good punch there from Jess Diggins.
Well, Diggins got one of her 5 wins here in the 10K last year and actually skied this last section very, very well. And she's in the perfect position at the moment. They're all vying for the inside line on the second climb.
I think this is where Jess is extremely strong. Those strong legs, tucking low, swinging the arms. Very, very good at getting the energy through the skis on this section.
Yeah, pretty good at keeping the opposition at bay with the poles as well.
Get behind, keep them away. But I'll tell you what, they're lining up to pounce.
So Diggins of America in first place at the moment. Sandra Ringvald of Germany well positioned in 2. And number 21, that's Lorian van der Graaf, just starting to make a move, but she's going to have to go the long way round. Anna-Maria Lampitz of Slovenia wearing 7 and struggling at the moment, as is Julia Kern of USA, just finding the pace a little bit tough. And now Diggins puts her foot down yet again. She wants pole position going around the top of the hill.
Jess Diggins, the super strength from Jess. She's skate 2'd or double danced all the way up that steep climb. What's she got left in her legs? Hopefully plenty.
2:31.6. The GPS thinks they're outside the pace to qualify as lucky losers. Diggins with a good lead. Ringvald in second place. And now Kern starting to make a move, but it's still Jess Diggins, who won the last of the sprint events, who takes top spot. She goes through. Ringvald joins her. Van der Graaf on 2:34.6 is out. So the 2 women who tied for the win 12 months ago here in Seefeld have both been knocked out in the first round. So much for confidence from doing well on the World Championship venue.
Isn't that amazing? And I think it just shows that strategy is the winner here. You need to be brave, you need to be bold. And sometimes being left behind early, you just can't come back. Nowhere to go.
So, Mike, on 2 of the heats, the leader down the last hill won. On 3 of them, third position won.
Well, figure that out. But I do think it's, unless you've got, like Jess had, an 8 to 10 metre lead, you set yourself up to be passed and pounced on. If you've got anything less than 7 metres, you may well be passed because the slipstreaming effect down into the stadium.
And never, ever have we seen the free skate play such a vital role in a sprint event.
No, and that's the unusual aspect. And although it looks easy, or you'd think it is, it really hurts your legs.
So Diggins, Ringveld go through. Van de Graaf is out. The two lucky losers coming from heat number 2, which was by far and away the quickest. And Nepreva Brokar, the two lucky losers in my book. 2:30.58 for Nepreva Brokar on 2:31.68. And there you see the semi-final lineup. Which heat do you fancy? Well, there's no delay. We go straight on to the men's first round. And the first heat of this looks like a World Championship final. Roman Schad of Switzerland. He is in very esteemed company. Good performances at junior level. Kevin Bolger of the United States. The Americans confident with the way things have gone so far. Finn Hagen Krogh. He is on fire and produced the 3rd fastest qualifying time. Sergei Ustiakov, 2nd in qualifying, and there is no doubt that his form has been rising ever since the beginning of the season. But this is the man to beat. Johannes Husflut Klæbo, the Olympic champion, reduced the bronze 2 years ago in Lahti. And on the inside, Stefan Zelga of Italy, a 3:02.76. He was 7 seconds slower than the fastest man in this heat in qualifying, and that, of course, was Sergei Ustiakov. Well, that was a scrappy start.
Wow.
And Ustiakov just very slow out of the start gate.
Do you know what, Patrick? They all are. Nobody wants to take this on. I thought it might have been spicier to this point, but look at that. Klæbo's got the status, and they're letting him do the lead work.
Well, one of the big guns is going to go out in this case, Mike, because we've got Klæbo, Ustiakov and Krogh. You can only, if we go at this pace, only 2 are going through.
Right now, only 2 are going through, and Klæbo looked to his right. He's always very track aware who's around him. He's desperate for someone else to take the lead, and everybody else is desperate for him to go up front.
Yeah, the fact that Roman Schad is leading, who was 7.5 seconds slower than the fastest in qualifying, just indicates Krogh has left his charge too late if he wants to make sure he qualifies as a lucky loser.
But sorry, there could be a positive in this, having done 55 seconds just about, nearly a minute. This hill will feel, this time around, much easier.
Well, it certainly helps should you go through to the semi-final.
Oh, this is going to be quite amazing. Maybe the 3 big names, Klæbo, Krogh and Ustiakov. I don't know what they're thinking, because one of these 3 right now are setting themselves up to go out of this heat, because it's so slow to this point.
And now there's a sudden injection of pace. Ustiakov wanting to make sure he's round the corner first. Krogh of Norway goes with him. Klæbo, the favourite, back in 3rd. Just get a horrible feeling that the Olympic champion might come a cropper here. These are risky tactics.
The speed down here now, Patrick. The legs aren't as tired as they will be next time round in the semi-final. It's all walk around this bend. It's a tricky little bend, but Klæbo is fantastic when it comes to cornering. And so is Finn Hagen. Ustiakov making it look easy as well. I think that Klæbo is just rubbing his hands together now, thinking, yep, I've got my prey in front of me.
Well, he starts to move up on the outside and heads Ustiakov for the first time. Finn Hagen Krogh sees a gap of, what, 2 or 3 meters open up between himself and the race leader.
Well, Ustiakov breaking through and holding back, further back behind Finn Hagen Krogh in 3rd place. He's got a fantastic turn of pace when he wants it.
Finn Hagen still has a very good position in 3rd. Round the final corner before the descent, and it's Ustiakov of Russia who leads. Klæbo in 2nd place, right on the shoulder of the Russian, and Finn Hagen Krogh some 7-8 meters back. He may get a huge slipstream into the finish. Now, who's going to take this?
Well, Finn Hagen in 3rd place must know that he's on the line to make it through to the semi-final, unless he gets right up with the lead 2. the pace did pick up in the last quarter.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that maybe Finnhagen Krogh pushed too hard in qualifying, Mike, because there was nothing left in the tank there. 3:00.3, the winning time. Klæbo and Ustiakov go through, two of the favourites, and Finnhagen Krogh will be bitterly disappointed.
He will. I'm just wondering, with the big names, the strong men up the front, they press such a hard pace in the final quarter. Will it be a time that may threaten? In terms of lucky losers, very doubtful. And I like how this panned out here. So Klæbo thought he was going to have a free ride at the front here, but Ustiakov just playing around with his strategy.
Well, that's just the way you want to go through to the semi, using as little energy as possible. And Klæbo still looking very relaxed. We didn't learn a huge amount from that, Mike.
We didn't, except that he's playing very cleverly. As you say, he's wanting to save energy, and he really did not want to take the lead early.
So 3 minutes, the fastest time. Bear in mind, the fastest qualifying time was 2:55. On to heat 2. And the defending champion, Federico Pellegrino, goes in this one. Alongside him, Renaud Jay of France. He's got a lot of supporters. Baptiste Gros. Two French, so we might see a little bit of teamwork, although I think it's unlikely. Sindre Bjornsad score. 13th in qualifying, 2:58.96. And then James Clunet. A really impressive qualifying run. He looked confident, and we'll just see whether he's got the confidence now to go on and take on some of the world's best. Pellegrino and Halvorsen. There is Pellegrino. He got his victory in Konya that he so desperately wanted. Of course, he comes from the Aosta Valley himself. 28 now, Pellegrino, so unlikely to have too many more years as a top-class sprinter.
Halvorsen could not have had a worse start in his entire life. He needs to get a pole. He can't get it until another few meters. Hopefully, oh, he's got one already. The coach ran back out of the zone to give it to him, and he may well come back from this.
Well, we saw Pellegrino win in Konya with a broken pole in the final. He's just got to hope that the pace is tactical and slow, and with James Clunet up front, that might be just the way this turns out. Now, Clunet, Mike, surely has to keep the pace hard if he wants to go through as a lucky loser. I can't see him beating Pellegrino.
On a head-to-head finish, it's going to be difficult. It looks like Halvorsen wanting to take the pace now, which I think is good news for James. Now, this is where the pace will pick up. Pellegrino can just change gears so quickly. This is not an easy heat. Skor coming through now as well. Great to see James with such efficient skating up this climb.
The British team just shouting to Clunet to keep his position. He is in the perfect position on the inside of the turn. Halvorsen's going to have to go the long way round. The last heat going round the top of the turn in around 1:34, so they're considerably quicker than that.
They certainly are. That's somewhat 4 or 5 seconds faster. James needs to tuck in to be behind the giant of a man, Halvorsen, but he's just been past there. Who was that coming through? I think it was Renaud Jay. Not through yet.
60 kilometers an hour as they come down into the stadium. They'll go in front of the commentary positions now. Halvorsen of Sweden leading at the moment. Clunet, a very confident run so far, but the rest are there ready to pounce. From Norway, we have Sindre Skor, 2 Frenchmen, Gros and Jay at the back at the moment, but they've got the inside line for the next corner.
Well, the storm is gathering, all practically alongside, and James is now third on the right-hand column as we look down that straight.
Some 7-8 metres between the front and the back, and Pellegrino decides it's time just to up the pace. Score of Norway trying to go with him. He's allowed 2 metres to open up, but at that pace, he's going to close that down fairly quickly. And Pellegrino looking very, very comfortable over the top. Bapti Gros not so.
Oh, Pellegrino, that was beautifully composed and balanced, and I think that Halvarsson, with that incredible early sprint after snapping his pole, that has cost him top 2 places. He had to push so much time back, and James, unfortunately for James, has been blown out at the back.
So Pellegrino's going to take the win, and it should be a lot quicker than the first heat that was run in 3:00. Well, a couple of seconds in the end, but it just looked as though Pellegrino was working a whole lot harder than Klæbo was.
It certainly did, and the pace was quite slow in this heat early on as well, so I think that's indicating the dynamic turn of pace that Pellegrino has.
So the defending champion safely through to the semi-finals, as is Score of Norway. Gros, good effort in the closing stages, but he's got a lucky loser spot at the moment. But will he stay there? Clunet, sadly, of Great Britain is out, but he put in a very good qualifying run, and for the 5th time this year, getting into the top 30. Well, there's the broken pole.
And it's snapped. You see there's a big post there, a timing post. Fantastic drills there from the coaches to run back down the track. But this, look at the energy expended there from way back 15 metres, 20 metres behind to go to the front within 17, 20 seconds. A lot of energy.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the best tactic in the end, Mike. If you find yourself behind, it's much more economical to close the gap slowly. But that's quite a risk to take, because you're never quite sure when the group are going to light that fuse.
I really feel exactly for Halvarsson. Look at him. He's really, really broken, having broken his poles. And there's another one gone, I think. Ah, that's so sad for Halvarsson.
Yeah, he had his eyes on the final, and if you make the final, you never quite know what might happen.
And you know, the fear and the anger of the pole snapping initially gave him that adrenaline to go from last to first so quickly, but he didn't have that pace again for the 2nd time of asking.
Well, what a fascinating race this is turning out to be. We move on to heat number 3. Alexander Bolshinov now. Only qualified in 29th position. Wang Quang for China. What a fantastic effort to get through to the top 30. Are they starting to come strong? Victor Thorn, number 1 on his vest. He was the fastest qualifier. Francesco De Fabiani trying to join Pellegrino in the semi-finals. Lucas Chanovat, he's looked strong over the last couple of weeks. I'm not quite sure why he needs a buff, Mike. It's baking out there.
It certainly is. Simi Hamilton, I think this track will suit Hamilton. I really hope it does.
.3:02.38, the time to beat if you want to be a lucky loser. I suspect they need this group to finish under 3 minutes if they want to get a lucky loser through.
And Patrick, there's only one man who is so fearless in this pack, and he's at the front. He doesn't know any other gear. And remember, at the Olympic Games, over 50 kilometre, if he adopted strategy then, I think things could have been very different. Instead of silver, he may well have had gold.
Bolshinov doesn't strike me as the sort of man who has the finesse and the muscle speed for the last 200 metres, Mike. Therefore, his only option is to make everyone hurt on the climb.
You know, and that's, I think you're right, break them, snap everybody else. And has he got the pace to do it? You wouldn't think so with his early qualifying time. But things are very different when it does come down to the heats. He's got tempo there.
Well, there goes a little burst from Victor Thorn. He's decided to move up ahead of the Russian, and that's a very, very big burst. What, 15, 20 seconds before the turn, and it means they're going to get to the turn very, very quickly. But, Mike, that's not the way you get through to the... you save something for the final.
Patrick, look at the time. Look at the time. Victor Thorn, is he not aware that the time is some 10 seconds faster than Klæbo's heat?
Well, it's a different tactic, isn't it? Trying to open up enough of the gap to break the slipstream back to second and third, and he might just have done that. But remember, we're traveling at 60 kilometers an hour. Bolshinov still hasn't started to close.
This is fast. This heat is extremely fast. Yeah, 55, nearly 57, 58 kilometers an hour. And I think, okay, that's Victor Thorn's strategy, and I think that's the strategy we'll see in the final from Klæbo.
Well, once you've opened that sort of gap, you have no choice but to keep the pace up. But sometimes it isn't possible because you get nothing for free in this game. And that last 50 meters of the ascent surely has cost Thorn his chance.
Why did he do that? Now his legs are screaming, they're burning. He might come back from it if he can get through this pain. Bolshinov, on the other hand, his strength, we thought he might skate 2 all the way up this climb. He's changing gear now into skate 1.
So De Fabiani leads for Italy. Bolshinov just behind him. Number 10 on the left-hand side as they work their way up the hill is Lucas Chanavar of France. And China's Wang Chuang has got no chance now. He's too far off the back, but did well to get through to the top 30.
Patrick, I would bet you in 3 years' time leading up to Beijing Olympics, it'll be very different for Wang.
Absolutely.
Look at Victor Thorn, Patrick. He's got nothing left because of that turn of pace.
What he has done is produce a pretty fast heat. 3 minutes dead, the fastest time so far. They don't match that. So Klæbo, despite an incredibly slow first half, they were much, much quicker on the second climb. De Fabiani, Chanavar go through. Bolshinov on 3:01.6 is quick enough to be a lucky loser, as is Hamilton, and they all have Victor Thorn to thank for that.
And poor old Victor Thorn.
Welcome back to Seefeld. We've still some way to go before we know who all the semi-finalists are. This is heat number 4 of 5 in the men's first round. Richard Uwe of France, and the French are here in numbers, as are the Norwegians. Emil Iversen, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, but does he have the skills and the qualities needed to win here in Seefeld? It's so different to all the other sprints we've had so far this year. Jon Maikki of Finland, no Finnish women qualifying for the top 30. Maikki has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, as does Hakala, who goes in the next heat. So, Iversen, Maikki, Uwe, Maltsev of Russia, Miyazawa of Japan, and Voronov of Belarus. Possibly, along with Group 5, the easiest heat to qualify in. What tactics will they employ?
Well, who is the leader of the pack, or who is setting themselves up to be knocked off the perch if they go to the front too early? Iversen possibly will lead this one. The Russian Maltsev, I thought he did well this morning. Yes, 19th. He just looked good. He looked balanced, and he actually looked for me as if he had more to give. But, yeah, sorry, Maltsev at the back at the moment.
Iversen wearing 7. Number 8 is Jon Maikki for Finland. He looks very comfortable, and a lot of the athletes after qualifying, Mike, saying they were astonished at how slowly they had to go on the first phase of this hill to make sure they had something left to give at the end of the course.
Very much, and I think we noted that with Ustyugov. When he started, he was very economical with his tempo, and then he must have picked it up severely from here. Iversen needs to watch those little pine twigs. They can certainly slow your ski down with the resin.
Little move coming in from Artem Maltsev, goes onto the inside. If he can work his way forward, he might have the perfect line round the top of the hill. The last group were almost at the top of the hill by this stage, so this is considerably slower.
Well, Victor Thorn, yes, he was turning around that high point long ago, 5 seconds ago. So this is possibly the slowest so far to this point. Just a little a little faster, I think, than Klæbo's heat number 1.
Watch the speed build as they come down the hill. We've got very close to the 60km/h marker. It really depends who the GPS tracker is on. Maltsev leading. Iversen in a very good position in second at the moment. He'll use his technique, needs to stay low as long as possible.
I don't think Maltsev's skis are going well at all. What a contrast to Iversen. Yes, there was an element of drafting. Maltsev now got a lot of hard work to put in. I still think that the Finnish athlete, Mikey, is looking very, very controlled, very easy.
Yeah, he's put in a good race so far. Miyazawa just getting his poles the wrong side of the ski. Does well to stay on his feet. Iversen still in pole position. Mikey just behind him for Finland. 15 on the outside is Richard Uve of France, and he moves up into second position. They'll both try and slipstream Iversen down the hill. Iversen's a big man, Mike. He's gonna struggle to keep those two behind him.
He is. They've got the pace already, Patrick. They're going to slingshot, you would expect, but Iversen has got fabulous skis under his feet. So you can easily win from the front with fast skis that can't get past you.
This is all about second place. Will it be Mikey of Finland nearest the camera, or will it be Uwe on the far side who's starting to pick up the pace? The French get it, and Mikey on 3:06.4 is out. No lucky losers from heat number 4. Iversen, the perfect race. So, once again, the first down the hill wins. It's difficult to call, and if it's difficult to call, it means it's going to be very hard to decide on your tactics for the final.
It is. Well, no, remember Maltsev with the slow skis, he tried to take that early lead and but didn't have a chance.
Scar, great heat there. How does this course skiing out there today?
It was heavy in the qualification, but now it's much more heavy. So the sun is making the snow so slow. So yeah, but it's the same for everyone.
Well, you look good. Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, we're here with Simi Hamilton, the pride of Aspen, Colorado. You're living a little dangerously, but Victor Thorn really hammered there. How did the heat go through?
It was hard, but good. You know, it's a tough course for sure. Victor kind of sent it on the steep climb. You know, luckily I got a good draft coming back to the stadium, so sucked back up into the group and then just focused on finishing hard. So yeah, we'll see.
So the two qualifiers from the 4th heat, Iversen and Uwe. And now the lineup for heat number 5. Andrew Young, Britain's last chance of getting through to the semi-final. Rättvik is probably the big danger here, qualified in 14. Oskar Svensson of Sweden qualified in 16. Finland's Ristomatti Hakala, 24th in qualifying, 3:02. Only 3 seconds separating all these men. Logan Hanneman, one of the big surprises. Alex Harvey, twice a medalist in this event at World Championship level. He's not, his sprinting certainly hasn't been that good this year. Andrew Young, he's big, he's strong. He always looks as though he's cruising, but that's because he covers so much ground with each stride. And then Gleb Rättvik, I know Devon Kershaw fancied him for a top 3 spot. Mike, do you go along with that?
I don't actually. I don't think Rättvik has the turn of pace or the strategy to come. Maybe he'll come through this, but not through to the final. I hope the birthday boy can come through this in the top 2, Andrew Young, and at least make top 12 at the World Champs.
Andrew Young tucks straight in behind Gleb Rättvik, who seems happy to take the pace at the moment. 18 is Alex Harvey. 16, of course, is Oskar Svensson of Sweden. And again, it looks pretty pedestrian. They're still going at over 30 kilometers an hour, but it looks relatively easy. They just don't want to get the pulse too high before the climbing starts.
They don't. I'm just thinking about this group, Patrick, and they're all giants of men. They're all close to 190 or over 190 meters. So turning, and when you're that large, tempo can sometimes be difficult to turn on when you're especially coming to this steep climb very, very soon. Svensson at the front is the only remaining male sprinter left, heading hopefully for him towards the semi-finals.
Well, it's been a bad day for the Swedish in the men's race so far. Halvarsson breaking a pole, and then Victor Thorn, who was the quickest of the qualifiers, getting his tactics all wrong. I think, having watched that, no one else is going to go for the long burst on the first climb.
Incredible. I don't know what he expected. If he'd done that in the final, he might have done something spectacular, but it was sadly for him a spectacular way not to achieve qualification through to the semis. This is very, very slow, and the slowest yet. Nobody wants to take this on. Alex Harvey is the clever tactician in this group. Was it the right move to take the front?
Well, Rättvik's been there for most of the time so far. Svensson in second place for Sweden at the moment, just looking for Andrew Young of Great Britain. Is that him in 4? I think it is. Yes, he's sitting in 4, perfectly placed at the moment, behind Ristomatti Hakala of Finland, who's in 3. Svensson just a little bit scrappy coming down into the stadium, but you've got to use the speed that you pick up on the downhill.
You have Andrew Young in 4th place at the moment, looking good. Svensson looking good at the front, and I think Rättvik taking the lead over the rise maybe wasn't the best strategy.
Well, I'm just a bit concerned for Andrew Young. He's on the inside. There's a real danger of getting boxed in here on the second climb. He's got to make sure he stays with the pace. Sweden's Svensson with the lead as they reach the halfway point on the final climb. 24 is Ristomatti Hakala. He's making a really good bid to make the semi-finals. Alex Harvey won't want to be raced out of this one. He's in a good position, and Andrew Young still okay, back in 3rd at the moment.
Harvey losing so much by going wide. He was there up with the front. Now he's in 3rd place. A lot of work to do.
This is a lot to do with ski speed, and it looks as though Svensson's done well. Andrew Young needs to pick up the pace. He's back in 5th at the moment. He's got a lot of ground to make up on the top 3. It's still Svensson leading. Alex Harvey coming with a burst in the closing stages, but it's Rättvik who gets himself there for Russia. And Rättvik and Svensson go through. Hakala is 3:09.2, so the slowest heat so far. Harvey is out, Young is out, Hanneman is out. Rättvik showing very, very good speed over that last 100.
That's certainly the fastest finish pace we've seen. I thought he was dead and buried, but he came through like a rocket. Very impressive indeed.
And I think finishing speed absolutely essential on this one if you're going to finish in the top 3.
You can see how wet it is. The snow just blasting up on the athletes behind. There's Youngie. I thought Andrew Young had it right there, but the final pace, he was wide. He wasn't drafting, unfortunately, into the home straight.
Well, with the softer conditions, Mike, the descents are definitely slower than they were first thing this morning for the qualification. That means that the drafting effect is slightly reduced. So maybe come the finals, you need to be in the first 2 coming down that last hill.
Well, I take it back from Rättvik. I still don't think he has the tactics to make it through to the final, but we'll have to wait and see.
So 3:08.93, Rättvik and Svensson go through to the final, having put out less energy than anyone else who's made it through to the last 12. So here is the lineup for the men's semis. Hamilton, Pellegrino, Klæbo, Ustiagov, De Fabiani, Score all go in the first semi.
Now we are going to see final heat number 1, ladies.
So Elise Brocard just so delighted. She's been around a long time in World Cup racing, 13 years. Alongside her, Jonas Sundling. For me, looking confident earlier, looking very economical. She'll have more to give. Reigning world champion from 2 years ago, Kaspersen Falla.
And the new star on the block, Christine Storvas Skistad. She looks the part. I think she'll be taking a few of Therese Johaug's endorsements over the next few months. And Mari Ida, what a fantastic tactic she employed in the first round to win herself a place in the semi-final. And the Olympic champion, Stina Nielsen, still confident despite the injury that she's had for the last month. But is she the same beast that she was just after the Tour de Ski? We will find out in the next 2.5 minutes. 1,200 meters to go. It's a short course for the women's sprint, and the first climb is so much shorter than the men's.
Well, yes, Fala will want to lead this. She won't want anybody dictating what she needs to do. And I think Fala has the tempo up the, I was going to say the steep climb, of course, far less steep in the women's field. A very, very fast start to this one, as expected with Fala. 30 k's an hour up this gentle slope.
57.5 was the fastest time to the turn in the heats for the women. And it looks as though Fala's taken it out faster than that. Another 15 seconds or so to go on the climb. Skistad just dropping back into third place. Stina Nielsen taking her time, Mike. Nielsen qualifying in 12th.
Skistad, again, making it look so easy in third place. Long, rangy movements, but the pace is hot. The pace is very hot.
Yeah, 56, 56.5. And Skistad, I think, probably happy to be back in third at the moment. Fala wants to make everyone else work.
And Fala knows full well that to guarantee going through to the final, she has to take the pain up the front, trying to destroy the rest of the field early. Stina Nielsen, so calm, so positive, and so relaxed.
Fala stays low as long as she can, just trying to get those extra 2 or 3 seconds rest. So still Fala leading. Nielsen well placed in second, and now Skistad drops back into fourth place as they vie for position at the start of the final climb. The Italian looking good on the outside is Elisa Brocard, but she's got a long way to go.
Brocard knows this is her moment to try and break through, to try and get into the front, but she's trapped.
Nielsen and Fala, the two big rivals on the sprint circuit for the last 4 seasons. The last 3 years have belonged to Fala. This year, though, belonging to Stina Nielsen with 4 victories on the World Cup already.
Now, Skistad with a vicious finish, I think, should be feeling still very confident at this stage in third place.
Yeah, again, she's in a good position, Mike, and this is where she struck from in the first round. From third, she catapulted herself into first position, but the 2 women in front of her, the 2 fastest in the world, only 2 going through by right. Oh, Skistad has gone down. She was looking for a gap that wasn't there. Nielsen somehow stayed on her feet, and the 2 biggest sprinters in world sprinting go through into the final, and Nielsen for one will be glad that Skistad is no longer in the contest because she looks so good.
Skistad made that look easy, made the Olympic champion look like she was on a Sunday ski. She was coming fast, coming past so quickly, but you need to be careful with those skis, catching the pole of the athlete in front of you.
She went on the outside in the first round, Mike. Why didn't she choose the outside again?
She will look at this and probably regret it for a very long time.
Well, let's have a closer look at this.
She put it on her own ski. Ski tip going on your own ski, only one outcome.
Have a look at this. Is it the right ski pole?
There. Oh, it's in that little clip.
Yeah.
That little bit in the ski that is missing.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mess.
Well, that is not a good advert for the missing front of the ski, and it's...
oh.
Can you believe it? She'd bigged herself up. Everyone had bigged her up.
Any other brand of ski, Patrick, that could have bounced off and could have kept going.
Well, she's not the only one out. Mari Ida has to wait and see whether she's got a lucky loser slot. 2:35.66. Hard to take, Mike, but you learn lessons the hard way, and that's one of the hardest lessons that you can learn.
And, you know, just turning 20-year-olds, what, 15 days ago or so, she hasn't quite the race experience, but she looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Fast and strong.
All sorts of drama here already in Seefeld. Remember, we're getting towards the decision for the first medal of these games. 22 medals in all to be decided. Natalia Nepraeva of Russia goes in the second semi. Sandra Ringwald. Two Germans racing in semi-final number 2, doubling their chances of having a finalist. Nadine Feindrich, she's got stronger and stronger over the last 3 or 4 weeks and is a real contender for the title, as is Jess Diggins, the winner of the most recent sprint event, but that's the only sprint she's ever won on the World Cup.
It's amazing. Positivity oozing out of Jess Diggins.
And Victoria Karl, only 26th in qualifying. She's got absolutely nothing to lose now. They all will have seen what happened to Skistad. They know you've got to choose your line wisely and stay focused right the way to the finish line. Was Skistad just a little bit complacent? We're underway, the second semi-final. Who's going through to join Faller and Nielsen?
Well, Dahlqvist very quickly wanting to put her stamp on this race, but Ringwald, who's in super form, deciding it's not going to be Dahlqvist at the front.
Well, I think this looks like a fairly punishing pace as well, Mike. Just trying to remember the time round the corner on the first heat.
Am I right at saying 51, 57?
I think it was 56.5, somewhere around the 56 region.
It was indeed 25 kilometers an hour, dropping to 20 as the hill gets steeper. Nepraeva, that's impressive. She was 4th at the Olympics, but more a classic skier than freestyle.
Well, it looks to be a fraction slower than the first semi-final, but that could well mean they've got more in the tank to give on the second climb. Ringwald's been dominating this one so far.
Jess Diggins a little roadblocked, but she knows she has to maybe go wide to try and get up to the front, from the back to the front.
Dahlqvist, the fastest qualifier, in second place at the moment. And by choosing a late group, she knew she was going to be racing in the second semi-final.
Jess Diggins just needs to remain calm here, use what she has well, and that is pure raw strength and determination.
4 minutes less rest for these athletes when it comes to the final. How critical is that when it comes to flushing out the lactic acid?
Look at Jess, tucking low for longer than anybody else now, employing her arms. She's still got a chance, even though she's 5th.
Nepraeva forcing the American wide, actually forcing Diggins just to ease off for a little. Sandra Ringwald wearing 17 on the inside of the turn. Number 1 Dahlqvist ups the speed, trying to make up for the misfortune of the Swedes in the men's semi-finals so far, in the men's first round so far.
Ringwald knows the importance of getting round that line, round the corner in first place.
Diggins now dropping back into 6th place, Mike. She's got a lot of work to do. I think finding that the class here is slightly different from the field in Konya, where she won the World Cup. There's no comeback from here, surely. Dahlqvist leading, Ringwald on her tail as they come into the last 150. Now Diggins stays low. The free skate certainly her strong point. She goes from 6th to 5th. She could get up in the 4th. A lucky loser slot might be there for Jess Diggins.
She's getting wedged a little. 4th place.
And the heat just that fraction slower. No lucky losers. So Feindrich and Diggins are out. Dahlqvist is safe. And Victoria Karl of Germany has done exceptionally well. She's made it through to the women's final.
That's incredible. Victoria Karl was one of the slower qualifiers, 26th position.
Faller, Nielsen, Sundling, Ida, Dahlqvist and Karl, the 6 women going through. Jess Diggins is out, that's a big surprise. Sandra Ringwald, who looks strong in the early stages, she is out. But probably the biggest shock of all, Christine Storvas Skistad of Norway, the new star on the block, has blown it. Desperately unlucky. Were there not the hole in the tip of the Fischer ski, do you think that would have happened?
I really don't think it would have. I think the pole would have slipped. She would have survived it without falling, I think, because the pole went through to the snow, and that's a roadblock. But that's going to bring you down. It was so unfortunate.
So there you see the lineup for the final. 3 Swedes, 2 Norwegians, and a lone German. Are we going to see a clean sweep for the Swedish? Was it Otterper, where they were on absolutely devastating form? In Dresden, they got the 1-2-3 as well. So the first of the men's semi-finals coming up.
Simi Hamilton. Score, he said it's getting slower, the conditions are wet, and probably better tucking in behind the athlete in front and following their ski marks is the best strategy.
This man looked impressive in qualifying, and he looked icy cool in the first round. Francesco De Fabiani, one of two Italians racing in this first semi. And Johannes Husford Klæbo, the Nordic skiing sensation, who was a standout star, despite the fact that he didn't get a gold in the sprint events in Lahti, Mike. He was the one we were talking about after the championships.
He certainly was. Pellegrino, he's still got to cope with Pellegrino, though, Klæbo, and Pellegrino has done nothing wrong.
They race a lot together, these two, simply because they nearly always choose Group 1, so they face each other in each and every round.
Who is going to lead this one out? It won't be Ustiakov.
Klæbo is likely to go to the front and then slow the pace down. Ustiakov, Pellegrino, Klæbo, one of the big names is coming a cropper, and don't rule out Score. I mean, Score's on very good form.
Ustiakov didn't want to get tied up early on or initially, but now he has, straight to the front. And this playing absolutely into the hands of Klæbo. He wants an easy ride this time, save everything for the final.
The Norwegians losing Finnhagen Krogh in the first round. That was a little bit of a surprise, but they still have a very good chance of taking their 5th sprint title from the 10. And Norway, by far and away, the dominant nation. 4 golds, 5 silvers, 5 bronzes over the last 9 championships in this discipline.
It's incredible. Ustiakov, he knows exactly what he's doing, but it's a dangerous strategy to go up the front. He's having a look around. Where's Klæbo? Who's going to break free here?
No one wants the lead round the top of the hill, and this is good viewing for those going in semi-final too, Mike.
It certainly is. Ustiakov nervous. He's waiting for an explosion of pace behind him, ready to react. It's not going to happen. I think they're going to let him dictate this pace. It's not fast, Patrick. It's not fast at all. Coach, is that Zorzi? Yes, it is, giving his advice.
Zorzi, former World Cup winner, Olympic medal winner, and it's Ustiakov who is brave enough to go, but
or silly enough.
Yeah, well, exactly. We saw this in the World Cup last year. I think it was Halvarsson on that occasion, and everyone used his speed to gain momentum coming down into the stadium.
And remember, Maltsev skis earlier and Reykjavik skis earlier were not fast, so he's quickly being absorbed.
Pellegrino out the back at the moment. It's De Fabiani, the leading of the 2 Italians, and now the free skate, and Klæbo shows himself to be a master of that, and he makes it look so easy.
He compresses so far. He's going to slow it down if he can, but he risks a lot of trouble.
Oh, that's it. Well, Ustiakov, I think, has himself to blame. But if you play games at this level, you can come a cropper.
Oh, Ustiakov needs to get back in the wake of Klæbo. Now they give Score a real opportunity.
And Pellegrino's gone from 6th up in the first in the space of 50 metres. He stayed wide. He knew he had to go further, but it put him into a good position. We're going to lose 1 or 2 of the big names here.
I think, Patrick, they all know that it was a very slow start. They may not get 4 out of this semi-final.
So Pellegrino looks safe. Score versus Klæbo for the 2nd place. Klæbo goes for the free skate early on, but he looks tired after that little collision with Ustiakov. The fastest qualifier is not going through. It's Pellegrino who looks the best at the moment, and Klæbo will certainly be a little bit concerned.
Now, I was just wondering, did Score back off to the line? He seemed to slow down. Oh, there was a little bit of pushing there. There's a lot of history. Ustiakov has a lot of history from Tour de Ski. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah, we need some officials in there. That's unnecessary. That is unnecessary.
Get some coaches in there. They need to stop this now or it could turn nastier.
Well, Ustiakov, of course, the silver medalist from Lahti 2 years ago. This is where it all happened.
Spicy.
Yeah, Ustiakov, there's no room on the inside. There's no way through, but what caused it was Klæbo slowing down. He's every right to go at the pace he wants when you're out front.
Have a look. The jury will look at this. Klæbo did push across Ustiakov's ski.
Yes, but Ustiakov's trying to get through a gap that doesn't exist. Let's have another look at it.
Well, right now, this will be reviewed by the jury. There was space there, Patrick. There was space.
Well, you know, I know he's a slim build, but, you know, you can't get 8 inches through 6.
The door was open. It was obvious where Klæbo was going to go, and Ustiakov saw the space when it was open, and right now the jury are reviewing that footage.
I still think he was ambitious to try and get through, but it's going to be interesting. And it's like two cockerels facing up to each other.
Spicy.
Two of the greatest stars. That was unnecessary. Ustiakov.
I think we'll see something disciplinary action come from that. He's so disappointed. He wanted this gold.
Yeah, I remember how disappointed he was with the silver medal in Lahti, but he went on to win enough medals to go home with a big smile on his face. Pellegrino and Klæbo are through at the moment. I suspect we might hear more. Well, this is the sort of excitement we want for the first day of the championships. And we still have one semi-final to go. Bolshinov will have seen all that, and he'll be just as angry as Ustiakov.
Oh,
He's raging.
He is not happy.
I think he feels like you do, that there was a gap.
Well, we only saw it from quick angles. I felt there was.
Uwe of France qualified in 15th position. Emil Iversen looked very good in his first round. And Gleb Ritvik, who produced the fastest finish that we have seen so far today. That could prove to be a very useful weapon come the final, should he get there. And Lukas Chavanat.
So Bolshinov, 2 Russians, 2 Norwegians, 2 Frenchmen. I beg your pardon, of course, Svensson.
So away we go. 2 more places for certain in the final. They're looking for a time of around, well, if they go round the turn in 1:25, Mike, we could get 4 qualifiers from this heat. The winning time in that first heat, just over 3 minutes 8. And the lucky loser times 3:8.97 and 3:10.12.
I've just seen, Patrick, that Ustiakov has been given a yellow card for obstruction. So the jury have looked at it and felt there was no gap. There we go, well done. So yellow card, it means he can still race on. As expected, I think, Patrick, Bolshinov to the front.
Yeah, this is Bolshinov's strength on the big climbs, and he'll want to make the rest hurt. France in 2 and 3 at the moment with Chanova and Uwe.
Iversen a long way back at the moment, realizing that Bolshinov is not slowing down. He needs to get with the pace. And there he is, Iversen, huge athlete, bib number 7, tucking in, what, 4th position.
126, 127, and by my reckoning, they're 4 seconds up on the last semi-final, which bodes well for lucky losers. And I suspect that De Fabiani and Skor will be just a little bit nervous at the moment. The Norwegians have had good skis so far today. Iversen had a cracking pair of skis on his feet in the first round.
You just feel with Bolshinov up the front, he's setting himself up right now to be passed by 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4.
6 men started and 6 men still at the races here in the second semi-final. Svensson of Sweden takes the lead for the first time. Iversen, number 7, just moving up on his outside. Bolshinov finds himself boxed in, but he knows things will even out when they come around the corner at the top of this climb.
Svensson looking tired for me. Has he got anything left for this incredible sprint that's about to get underway?
Shanova in 3rd for France. And number 14 is Gleb Retvik. Now, he was lightning quick in the closing stages of the first round. Can he do it again? He's got to choose the right line. We've seen a number try and go on the inside. Here comes Retvik on the far side, but it's Iversen and Svensson at the moment, 1 and 2. The Frenchman trying to up the tempo, but not making any ground. Shanova stuck back in 3rd place at the moment. Uwe on the near side does well, and it's between Uwe and Shanova for the photo. Iversen has the win, and Retvik 303.5. We've got 2 lucky losers out of this heat, so it's either going to be Retvik or Svensson who go through as the 4th or as the 2nd lucky loser. Shanova is safe. We know he goes through. Good race from Svensson. Iversen hasn't put a foot wrong so far. He's through to the last 6. Well, whatever you're doing, just put aside the next 5 minutes, because I think we're in for some tremendous action here in Seefeld. The first round and the semis have been full of drama. In the women's, Sweden have come out on top so far. 3 finalists in the women's sprint, and they will be up against 2 Norwegians and 1 German.
Given a little more time in terms of preparation into the final. And, well, Stina Nielsen coming back from quite a serious injury. They originally thought, well, she has no chance of coming back, making it in time to be having healed her injury to this point, but she's done nothing wrong. She still has her strategies. She still managed to carry them through, and so far, so good.
Mariida, big smile on her face. I'm not sure she was expecting to get this far through, having qualified in 25th place, but she's had good skis and she's employed very good tactics. Jonas Sundling, is she going to get her 2nd win of the season? But this would be by far the biggest. Victoria Karl looked fantastic in her semi-final. She went through from semi-final number 2, which is always a little bit of a disadvantage. 4 minutes less rest. It's significant, but not as significant as it is in the men's, because the time between the men's semis and the final is less than it is with the women. Maja Dahlqvist, number 1 in qualifying. She hasn't had it all her own way in the knockout phases, Mike.
She hasn't, and she won't have it all her own way in the final with Stina alongside her teammate.
So Faller and Nielsen go head-to-head yet again. Faller won the World Championships in Lahti. Nielsen won the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. We're underway. In just over 2.5 minutes' time, we will know the first gold medalist from the 52nd Nordic World Championships. Is it going to Sweden? Is it going to Norway? Or are we going to get a surprise and see Germany take top spot?
Victoria Karl, incredible. Her path to this place. She wasn't fast in qualifying, wearing bib 26, but she's got an incredible turn of pace in the final, 300 meters, when you need it most.
Well, it's a bold move from Maiken Caspersen-Faller. Once again, she knows her best chance is to keep it an honest pace, and she's gone out very, very hard indeed. 25 kilometers an hour, going up a gradient that would stop most of us dead in our tracks.
It would, and she's adopted this strategy all day long, Faller. She wants space, But as we always say, you set yourself up for an attack from 6 other very fast athletes.
Only half a second slower than the fastest to that point of the course so far. So Falla really is pushing it out, but this is where she can come unstuck. Nielsen in the perfect position in second, and Nielsen it is who'll pick up more speed coming down into the stadium for a long, long section of free skate as they go in front of the crowd.
Sweden 2, 3 and 4, and there's a gap now to 5 and 6, so certainly a lot of medals at the moment going Sweden's way.
Mari Ida has found herself too far behind at the moment, but still she can use the slipstream to try and close the gap. It's going to be Falla who has choice of line up the final climb. Nielsen stuck behind Falla, which may be the perfect place to be.
Falla, sorry, needs to close that door. It's closed now. I thought she was going to get taken on the inside.
Dahlqvist on the shoulder of Falla. Nielsen's had to go on the outside. Number 20, that's Jonas Sundling, who's got a very good slot at the moment. It could be a clean sweep from Sweden, and Falla's going to have to be very, very careful. She's led from the gun, and it's not...
down too.
Stina Nielsen has gone down.
Unbelievable. Well, Falla, that is brave. Sometimes when you go out front, if anything happens behind, you've got it. A runaway win. It's not over yet, though.
I'm not sure Falla is even aware of what has happened behind her.
And then a ski pole dropped. Is that Sundling has dropped a ski pole? In third place.
Actually, it's Nielsen in second place. It's Nielsen in second. It's Falla who takes the gold for the... She got the World Championship title in 2017 in Lahti. She's done it again in Seefeld in 2019. And that's 5 successive world titles going to Norway. Bjørgen took 3. Falla now has 2. And Mari Ida getting the bronze medal as well. It all went wrong for Sweden.
Sweden, it went so wrong. Sundling coming into the home straight somehow. Maybe it was in the collision that she had with her teammate Dahlqvist, but her ski pole fell off and she ran the whole home straight without one pole, and that's cost her a bronze medal.
Well, we need to have another look at that. It was the top corner, the final corner, that all the drama occurred in this women's final. I don't know if we're going to see... I'm not sure anyone was to blame, Mike, but the 3 Swedes were racing in very close quarters all the way up that last climb. You just sense something wrong might happen.
They're alongside each other in a line, and the length of these skis just doesn't mix well.
Yeah, and as you said, fortune often favours the brave, and Falla was very, very bold. I think she's worked out this season that she hasn't got the finishing speed to win every sprint, but if she makes everyone hurt, she's just as strong as they are in the finish.
She certainly is, and that's it. She took all of the sting out of their legs, and yes, luckily for... Here it is.
Here's the key point. Dahlqvist, it was number 20, Jonas Sundling, who drifted wide, took out Dahlqvist, forced Nielsen to take evading action. There's Dahlqvist's... there's Sundling's leg going wide.
Sundling.
Down goes Dahlqvist, the fastest qualifier, and Stina Nielsen does well to nip through on the inside.
And there's Sundling. That's why she lost the pole, because she threw it. There was nothing on the end of it. She couldn't get any purchase from it. And look, Ida must have thought, all my Christmases are happening right now to take third place.
It's all about the tactics. And today, Falla read it right. She got it right. She is heading home with a gold medal from the World Championships for the 2nd time in succession. Brilliant racing. Well, how about that? Well, let's go and have a chat with Karsten and Devon to get an assessment of the women's final here in Seefeld. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and she defends her championship title from 2017 in Lahti, Mike and Kaspersen Falla. Now she's a world champion again here in Seefeld. And what a dramatic final.
A dramatic final doesn't even begin to talk about what happened. I knew it would be tight quarters. I didn't really realize that in the women's final at the World Championship, we'd see carnage like that. And Mike and Kaspersen Falla, congratulations, back-to-back world champions.
And Stina Nielsen second, and Mari Ida number 3.
Exactly. Oh, for sure. Mari Ida coming third. What a story. It's been such a tough... it's been such a tough year for Mariida. So for her to come here and come third, it warms my heart, and congrats to the whole Norwegian team. And of course, Stina Nielsen, been injured for over a month and comes here and comes away with the silver medal.
Yeah, I don't think Falla here even knows that she has like 30 meters to Stina Nilsson, because what happened between Sundling and Dahlqvist there?
It's hard to know, but it really looks to me that Sundling comes in on Dahlqvist, takes her out pretty much. There's no other way to describe it. Both of them fall. Then all of a sudden, you see this, it's no chance. It's unbelievable. Dahlqvist has no chance. Sundling breaks a pole, it looks like. Yeah, there it is. Breaks a pole and starts into the run-in with one pole, opening the door for Mariida to take that little gift. But hey, you got to be good to be lucky, and Mariida comes away with the bronze.
And of course, here's you have to have a good position here to have any chance for the podium. And of course, the two Swedes, they're fighting for themselves, so this can happen.
Oh, of course. In the sprints, it's always so tight, Karsten. There's just not much room out there, especially the World Championship final. And sadly, for the Swedish athletes, they took each other out, and they're lucky that Stina Nilsson came back for a silver medal there to save the day a little bit, but really it's a day for the Norwegian ski team.
Yeah, you won the team sprint as a world champion in 2011. You know, the feeling that Maiken Kaspersen and Falla has now, can you try to, for us who's never going to have a world championship title?
I don't know if I can put my name in the same breath as a great champion like Maiken Kaspersen Falla, but listen, everyone's talking about Stina Nilsson. We were guilty of that, Karsten. We were talking about Stina Nilsson. She went into this race as an underdog, really, which is kind of funny when you think about it. She's the 2014 Olympic champion. She's the defending world champion. She's won the last couple races. She's been in great form, but today, all the stars aligned, and she's world champion once again.
Yeah, and her tactics in the final, what do you think of those?
Oh, you know what? If you stay out of difficulty, it gives yourself the best chance to get through the race without any major hiccups. She didn't play it tactically. She raced like Maiken knows she can race. She goes from the front, gun to tape, annihilate. That's what she did today, and it resulted in another gold medal.
Norwegian champion Maiken Kaspersen Falla ahead of Stina Nilsson from Sweden, Mariida, number 3. Okay, that was the women. Now let's turn to the men's final, just about on the way here in Seefeld. What on earth happened between Klæbo and Ustiogo in the semifinals?
It was a battle royale out there. I think what ended up happening is you had Ustjugov, who was really upset to lead on the downhill. Up on the downhill, like I talked about earlier, nobody wants to lead down that hill. It's such a humongous draft. And Ustjugov realized, I'm not in a great position here. He was looking around, he was looking for help. But of course, everybody around him's like, not today, man, you do this. And right from there, he knew he was a little bit in a compromised position. The other guys played it tactically perfectly, swept him up like we knew they would. But then it got a little spicy there, Karsten.
He got a yellow card for this, Ustjugov. Is that correct by FIS?
Yeah, I mean, Ustjugov was... Yeah, that last little push there that we just saw, that's probably why he got the yellow card, and then some unsportsmanlike conduct in the finish, probably from both the athletes, really. But, of course, Klæbo's upset. But there's just no need for this kind of stuff. But at the same time, the blood pressure's running high. This is the World Championship. This is for everything. So I understand that athletes get frustrated, but it is too bad in a way that we don't get to see Ustjugov in the big final with some of these other big boys.
Well, we spoke to Ustjugov some moments ago. He had blown his steam was off his shoulders, and this is what he said.
Ну, забег получился не очень быстрый, никто не хотел работать. Вы, наверное, все видели, я уходил на спуск первым, потому что я понимал, что я бегу с сильными финишерами, и надо было пытаться как-то отрываться от них. Но ничего из этого не вышло, они накатили меня все на спуске, потому что шли сзади. Ну и потолкались мы на повороте немного с ребятами. Ну и на финише мои нервы не выдержали, хотелось ударить Klæbo, но я сдержал себя и просто потолкались.
So as you saw, this race was not very fast, and nobody wanted to work hard. And I understood that I was in the company of the very fast skiers. I decided on the downhill to be first. That is why we're we're hitting each other a little, and on the round also. And I was a little angry, and then the finish I even wanted to hit the Klæbo, but I pulled myself together and I didn't.
You wanted to hit him?
Но хотел ударить, да?
Хотел, но я думаю, у меня еще появится такая. Не буду говорить.
Yes, I wanted, but of course I didn't.
Очень жаль, что сегодня не получилось попасть в финал, потому что я видел, как...
All right, that was Sergei Ustryugov. Well, he smiled here. He wasn't that happy after losing the semi-final. Here's one of the favorites today. And of course, Johannes Høstfold Klæbo is in it with Pellegrino, the two on the top podium that you thought before the race, Devin.
Yeah, the two best skate sprinters in the world are meeting in the final here at the World Championships. It'll be really interesting. I mean, energy is running real hot. I mean, she's burning hot there with Ustryugov and Klæbo there. We'll see how much energy Klæbo used, but those are the two picks for the win, first and second. I stand by my picks.
All right, let's go for the final.
So Lucas Chanoa representing France in the final alongside Richard Uwe. They look very good in the second semi. And Chanoa, of course, coming through as a lucky loser. Emil Iversen, he's looked strong, he's looked very confident, and that smile has got bigger with each round that he's gone through. Johannes Høstfold Klæbo. Now, the adrenaline is still going to be pumping through his veins, and I'm just wondering how he's going to feel 30 seconds into this race, because it can drain you like nothing else. Federico Pellegrino, he may see that as his chance.
I think so. I think without a doubt Klæbo's mindset has been affected. The coaches tried to quickly protect him and get him away from that scene. Has he got it all back? I'm sure he will have.
Klæbo with 22 wins to his name, and he's only 22. Pellegrino, on the other hand, 13 wins, but 12 of them have come in sprint events, and 12 of them have come in freestyle events. So he's every bit as successful as Klæbo, and he has every right to feel that he can win this one.
He certainly has. Chanoa, a little surprised maybe taking the lead, but he was fully aware it would not be fast from the gun. I thought Klæbo, and I think he still will, explode very soon and try and buy himself 2 seconds at the top of the big rise. Or will he leave it till later? He's got the pace where he can almost do anything. He's magical when he turns that pace up.
The only weakness I saw Klæbo so far, Mike, is the last 150 meters. He doesn't look as devastating as he does on a slower course. It's too fast for him to shine, and therefore he's either got to go at the top of this climb or the top of the second one. The second one might be a better choice.
Might be. We'll have to wait and see. Is Pellegrino going to explode? Is one of these athletes going to explode? They saw it wasn't the best outcome earlier.
Iversen moving up on the far side alongside his teammate. So two Norwegians in the top three at the moment. Pellegrino nearest the camera, Chanoa and Uwe side by side, and at the back waiting patiently is Redvik, who has done nothing wrong so far. He's just got to make sure he's in the right position on the downhill into the stadium.
Redvik from this group, from what we've evidenced today, has a real sting when it comes to the final 200. Iversen setting himself up to be passed, and remember, he's had less recovery time. Look at the clock, 1:37.
The fastest heat went round this corner at 1:20. We're 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 seconds slower than the fastest heat.
Nobody's going to want to take this.
And this is exactly what happened in the final.
Oh, Chanoa. No, you don't want to do it, Chanoa. Someone has to.
Well, that's almost an action replay of the World Cup here last year, and it was Halvorsen who came down the hill, and Klæbo gained all the advantage he wanted coming down into the stadium. So Chanoa.
Sorry, every metre that we go now, it plays for me into Klæbo's hands. Iversen's still got good pace, but look at the way that Klæbo has movement on his skis, supremely balanced and so much energy.
And look at the way Pellegrino is just trailing the Norwegian. He knows his best chance is to stay in the slipstream of the world #1. Klæbo leading into the base of the final climb. When is Klæbo going to up the tempo? Pellegrino's decided now is the time.
Yes.
And now Klæbo goes for it. He's looking for a gap, but he's been squeezed out.
Wow, Pellegrino, look at the tempo. He's dancing up this climb. He needs to buy himself more meters than this.
Well, I think this pays into Klæbo's hands, Mike. He's going to be in second coming down the hill, and surely he'll go on the outside when they come down into the stadium. The two greatest sprinters in the world at the moment, 1 and 2, and they're out on their own. Iversen in bronze medal position at the moment. Pellegrino goes for the free skate, but it's Klæbo who rises first, and he gains a metre and a half. The gold is going to Norway. Double success. success for the Norwegians. Fowler takes the women's, and Johannes Høstblock Klæbo takes his 5th victory of the season and confirms himself as the world #1.
Do you know what? There's only one other 22-year-old who's have won the championships here, not the sprint, but in the history of world championships, and that was 1982. Eriksson from Sweden. Klæbo has won everything now. What an athlete.
And Redvik, Mike, coming through to get on the podium.
I'm very impressed with Redvik. He did come through as a lucky loser. He had that turn of pace. He didn't want to get involved in the pace early on.
Well, all credit to Klæbo, because after that altercation, after the semi-final with Sergei Ustiakov, he could so easily have lost it. But he stayed controlled. He knew his best tactic was to go hard on the final climb. And I must say, in the semis, he didn't have that burst in the finish, but that might have been because he'd got tied up with Ustiakov.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And we've got to praise Pellegrino for trying so hard to break the amazing Klæbo. It didn't work this time. It nearly worked.
So the Olympic champion is now the world champion, and he's only 22. A phenomenal career he's had already. He's won the Tour de Ski this year. He leads the overall World Cup standings. He won the overall World Cup last year. How far can this man go? And of course, he was the sprint winner in the World Cup, 17, 18, and he leads the way this year as well. Quite phenomenal.
And well, look at the same 1-2 a year ago. Right now at the Olympics, it was Klæbo, Pellegrino, and Bolshinov. Now it's Klæbo, Pellegrino, and Redvik.
We spotted Redvik's finish earlier in the rounds, Mike. He seemed to be very sharp over the last 200. Just lost touch with the two leaders going up the big climb. So in the end, it was a good move from Pellegrino and Klæbo, because they assured themselves the gold or the silver.
And I think Klæbo really had a vision that this was maybe not going to be his day, because Pellegrino did everything right to try and take the victory. But there's not much you can do when you've got this man on your tail, Klæbo.
So the two best female sprinters get gold and silver in the women's, with Fowler ahead of Nielsen, and the two best male sprinters in the world get gold and silver with Klæbo and Pellegrino. It goes to form here in Seefeld on the first medal day. I'm not sure that's going to happen all the way through the championships, but a very, very impressive display and loads of drama.
So much drama, and the course being the profile that it is certainly lent itself for many, many more issues happening along the way, and it didn't allow the strong men to break early. They had to kind of wait. Nobody wanted to descend first. That's black and white when it comes to racing, or those who didn't get away with it.
Redvik in some way making up for Ustiakov's disappointment. How would Ustiakov fared in that final?
I think he would have been third, because he would have probably led down the hill. He feels guilty for not working hard, and he probably would have finished third.
And who led down the hill?
Where was he?
Shanava.
Last.
Where did he finish last?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Do you have to rethink the design of a course, or is that all part of the game?
That's part of the game. I don't know if you want to see 6 amazing athletes standing still halfway around the final. It's not many sports where you'd actually see that happening. So it's an unusual course profile, and that's why it dictated this.
Yeah, it takes my mind back to the 4x10 relay in Salt Lake City, where the Norwegians and Italians were dead still coming down into the stadium. They knew it wasn't a good idea to lead.
There it is. Who's gonna be silly enough? I don't mean that, but someone has to lead it down. They couldn't stand there all day.
Pellegrino just keeps his eyes on the competition. Shanava runs out of patience and goes from 1st to 6th in the space of 200 meters. The price you pay for leading down the hill. Pellegrino, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. But all credit to Klæbo, because although it wasn't his race plan, I don't think, to be in 2nd place around the top of the hill, Mike, he then restructured his plan.
But look at this. When you're tucked in behind at 30, 25 kilometers an hour, there's a slight assistance there. He still had to work for it, because Pellegrino was sharp and strong, but not just quite fast enough.
Just that little bit more tension in the Italian's shoulders, slowing the cadence down. Only 1.5 meters in it. Norway get their second gold from 2 races.
Klæbo, the ultimate racing machine.
Well, what a day. Well done to Faller, and congratulations to Klæbo. Well, there are your 3 medalists from today, and Ustiakov missing out. He got the silver medal in Lahti 2 years ago. But 2 of the 3 men back on the podium. Klæbo, the #1.
Yeah, with the Austrian Alps in the background. And 1 year ago, he took 3 gold medals in Pyeongchang in the Olympics. Now this is his first World Championship title, Johannes Seefeld Klæbo. Who can beat him in a sprint?
In the sprint
Is he
competition.
even born yet?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's so young. He races with such poise. He knows exactly where to pounce. He has that patience you saw at the top of the hill. He's like, this ain't my game. I played this last year. I played the waiting game and won against Cali in the World Cup, and he played it again to perfection today. There is no better sprinter on planet Earth than Klæbo, and today he's world champion for the first time.
And Shanaba, don't say we didn't warn you, because you showed this before the race. If you lead on top of the hill, if you're first down the hill, you will not win this race, and he ended up 6th.
Exactly. Like, Karsten, what is so hard is Shavana just lost his head ever so slightly. I know, they can't just sit up there, have a cup of tea, eat some crumpets. Somebody's got to lead down the hill. Shavana was the first one to crack, and again, like we knew, resulted in him getting completely munched by all the rest, and then the big boys of sprinting played it out for the medals.
So here's Iversen and Klæbo head-to-head here, but Iversen, he didn't make it all through. Why not?
It's really, really hard to tell here. Iversen just looks like he ran out of gas a little bit. You see Gleb saving some energy. I have to give tip my hat to the Russian staff. They did a really, really great job with the skis. Gleb had better skis, better tactics, and then we have seen all day Gleb's last 100 meters, unbelievable. He secures the bronze for Russia, but it really was the 2 big boys of sprints to battle it out for first and second.
But was it smart of Pellegrino to take the lead down the last hill?
It's so hard to know, because, you know, these guys can stay in the lead. When you're that good, you saw that last year, you can lead on that little candlestick because it's the shortest distance. He looked so, so, so good. If there was anybody behind him other than Johannes Klæbo, Pellegrino wins the World Championship. It just... Klæbo was just so, so strong in that last 100 meters, and then used that little bit of draft. There's not that much draft. They're going just over 30K an hour down that last downhill, but Johannes is just ridiculously fast, and Klæbo gets beat into second yet again.
Yeah, let's hear from the world champion.
Johannes Klæbo, what a crazy final heat. What's your thought? What did you do out there?
It was really strange because on the top everyone was stopping and no one wanted to go first, so it was just standing there, and yeah, and after some seconds one person go and then everyone was following him. So yeah, I had a plan today to try to be second before the last uphill there, and yeah, it was I think it worked quite good, and it's very, very cool to be world champion.
Yes, you can call yourself world champion.
Yeah, it's sick, so I don't know what to say, but I'm really proud, and it's an amazing day.
Well done, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that was the world champion. Here's the man behind the world champion. Congratulations. What a day for Norway.
Yeah, thank you very much. So nice.
But the tactics, Devin talked about it. If you lead down that hill, you will not win the sprint.
Yeah, it depends on how the speed is up there. Now they were more than half a minute slower than earlier today. So no one was tired when they stand up there and wait for someone to go down. So, okay, it is what it is. So.
Arnold, but I have to say, last year, the same thing happened. So the final kind of replayed again. So it was amazing to see Johannes with such poise and patience. Yeah. Did you talk about that last night?
Yeah, for sure. Also the last day, and especially, yeah, the minutes before the final, we have a small discussion. Okay, hopefully someone will take some speed, but it was... we expected that there will be a hard finish between Pellegrino and Johannes.
And also Pellegrino, he take the lead down the last hill here. Was that also part of your plan, or?
No, then they full gas so quickly as possible, but for sure, Pellegrino is faster. Yeah.
Last year, Klæbo was so nervous during the Olympics. How has it been this championship?
Better. And next world champ and the next Olympic, even better.
Okay.
Congratulations, Arnold. Really proud of you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. Okay, that was the men's final. We can see a crab over there getting some interviews, but let's look at the women's final.
Yeah, let's go back to the women's final because there was a lot of carnage there. We had the tactics of the men's final, and then in the women's final, it all went sideways on that last corner.
Here we go. The two Swedes, Sundling and Dahlqvist.
And there you see it.
Into each other.
Oh, and it's just heartbreaking to see Dahlqvist go down like that after such an amazing day. Tactically perfect, great speed in her quarterfinal and semifinal, an amazing qualification, and it all goes wrong 250 meters from the line. Maiken has no idea what's happening here. She's just gunning it for the line, like, get me to that finishing line. She doesn't know the carnage that's happened behind her, and she crosses the finish line, world champion yet again.
She is. She defended her title from Lahti in 2017. Let's listen to the world champion.
Maiken Kaspersen-Falla, what a win here at the sprint. What's your feeling now?
Of course, I'm very happy. I've been really worried about this track and the high speed. I've been practicing the whole season to do the last, to have that good timing on the last meters. And today I really succeed. And also my skis, they are amazing today, and everything feels right. So yeah, it's an amazing day. I'm so happy.
A very well-deserved title. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here are the podium for the ladies, Maiken Kaspersen-Falla, Stina Nilsson and Mari Eide. And the third place there was out of the, not out of the blue, but it's a pleasant surprise.
Oh, I don't want to cry live on TV, Karsten. Luckily, they're not showing a picture of me, but Mari Eide's had such a tough, tragic year. The loss of her sister earlier this year. It was really, really hard for her to find motivation with her training. Of course, not sleeping well. It's just been such a grind. That's an understatement. It's been a tragic build-up. So it could not have happened to a nicer person, and well-deserved, Mari Eide. It doesn't at all make up for the loss. But a bronze medal at the World Championships is a great day in itself.
She is on the podium. Let's take it away for the flower ceremony.
Auf Rang Nummer 2, in second place, aus Schweden, from Sweden, Stina Nilsson.
Yeah.
Und auf Rang Nummer 1, in first place, und damit Weltmeisterin and world champion, aus Norwegen, from Norway, Maiken Kaspersen-Falla.
There she is, the defending world champion, Maiken Kaspersen-Falla. This feeling, you've been there.
It's been a long time.
At the top of the podium in Oslo in 2011.
Yeah, but it's been a long time ago, Karsten. It was a long time ago. But that smile speaks for a million words. I mean, she's just so absolutely thrilled. But we're here with Federico Pellegrino, fresh off a silver medal performance.
Yeah, how was your feeling right now, Federico?
Yeah, it was not so bad. After turn, I had a better feeling, and yeah, I tried to use my qualities, as Devon said yesterday, going downhill and move fast my legs, and I knew that with the wind behind, coming to the finish line, I could not pass Klæbo. He's faster than me, he's bigger than me, and he's, you know, the spinnaker, okay? He could go faster, so I just had to try before, and that's what I did. So I did the best that I could, and the best today is silver, and I think it's not bad.
Because it was your tactic to be #1 in the last turn, right?
I had to.
But we saw something really special on the top of the hill there, because no one wanted to lead this race.
We knew this about 1 year.
Yeah.
And for sure, someone had to go in the front. And the less quiet maybe went in the front. And yeah, I knew I was I think the smallest in the final, as quite always. So I couldn't go in the front. I just had to wait. I had really fast skis, as always. My team made a really great job, and yeah, I'm really satisfied.
Congrats. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
the Norwegian anthem that we talked through. Sorry about that, but you had Pellegrino here. And
it's not every day you get Federico Pellegrino in an interview, but it's also not every day that you can respect the Norwegian national anthem. So hats off to Maiken and Mari.
Yeah, we have another shot at the Norwegian national anthem in just a couple of minutes when Klæbo was taking the second goal for Norway. But what Federico said, that he had to try. The last turn, he had to be number one.
Oh, yeah. And I honestly think it was the best tactic for Federico Pellegrino. He had that inside line. He had the exact tactic that Klæbo had last year. He had the shortest distance from the last little climb around the corner into the finish. It was textbook. It's just textbook's not enough when you have a king like Klæbo. It's amazing. He had the absolute perfect line. We're seeing him here. He's even getting a tiny little gap, but it's all for naught because Johannes Klæbo is so incredibly fast in that last 100 meters. You heard it yourself. Pellegrino told us, I'm not as fast as Klæbo in the last 100 meters. I had to try something different. If I was in his same position, I would have tried the same thing, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, you saw the Lahti as well. Then Klæbo was one, and not the tactic there because Pellegrino was number 2 into the finish run there.
Exactly, and he's just so hard to beat. You know, it really reminds me a little bit of all those years when we tried to battle Petter Northug. You know, like you trying to break him apart on the course by going early. He's on your back. Sorry. And you try and play out the waiting game and beat him in the sprint, forget about it. You're just going to get beat down into second. When you have a complete athlete like Klæbo, he's just so hard to beat when he's on his top form.
And now, of course, we thought maybe we will be the king of the championship already before this starts. Now he has 1 goal in one try. But the rivalry between him and Ustiogov didn't get any smaller this day. Because Ustiogov, he was mad at Klæbo after the semifinals.
Oh yeah, you know the old saying, don't poke a grumpy bear. I don't know if he really poked him, but it was getting pretty close. Ustiogov is going to come into these next races incredibly motivated. He showed his cards a little bit here on sprint day. He was looking so good. But like I said earlier, and I've been saying all day, space is so limited in these sprints, and Ustiogov just tried to. You know, he played a little with fire and he burnt his fingers.
And they will meet each other in the skiathlon, the 30K. They will probably meet each other as the anchors for the both relay teams. Yeah, so we have some duels between Klæbo and Ustiogov to look forward to.
Oh, absolutely, Karsten. And I want to say that, like, Ustiogov, you can't write him off. He had a great day. He was looking really strong. He made a few small mistakes tactically. It cost him. He got tangled up. And now Ustiogov sadly is at home at the hotel playing the what-if game. What if I just left that little gap? What if I just played it a little tactically different? Could I have had a shot? We'll never know, but we'll soon find out, like you're saying.
But Klæbo, he always finds the space. Why and how?
If I knew, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you, Karsten. I'd be on the course crushing gold medals right up there with Johannes. But no, it's jokes aside. He's wise beyond his years. It's unbelievable what he's done in the last 3 years. It's almost hard to believe in some senses because he is the complete package and he is so young. So I just can't wait, and I'm looking so much forward to seeing him as this next 10 days progresses.
Yeah, and it's not so good to be a competitor now because he's only 22 years old. He's not 34 or 35. You know, you will struggle with him for a lot of years.
Exactly. So it's great to be in the mixed zone here with you, Karsten. I think I bowed out at the absolute right time because, like you said, Klæbo is going to be waiting for a long time to come.
You think how can they take him? What's the tactic against a man like Klæbo?
You know what? You've seen it this year. He almost has to make mistakes, really. I mean, when he's on his top forms, you almost just have to hope for a mistake and pounce when that opportunity arises.
Okay, here we see it. Norwegian gold, Italian silver, Russian. Retivek got the bronze. Okay, this is the world champion.
Rusland, representing Russia, Gleb Retivek. In second place, aus Italien, representing Italy, Federico Pellegrino. Und auf Rang Nummer 1, in first place, Weltmeister 2019, World Champion 2019, aus Norwegen, Norway, Johannes Høsflot Klæbo. Wir kommen zur Überreichung der Blumen und die werden überreicht vom Vizepräsidenten von Stora Enso. The flowers will be handed over by Jari Suominen, Executive Vice President Stora Enso.
Here's the podium. Johannes Høsflot Klæbo, the champion, and of course, as we told you, he was so nervous before the Pyeongchang Olympics that he almost didn't sleep for hold the championship. He came home with 3 gold medals. Now, as we heard Alder Monsen, his sprint coach says, he's so much calmer and already won a gold.
Yeah, it's a dream start to a championship, not only for Johannes, but for the whole Norwegian cross-country ski team. That is, there was only 6 medals up for grabs today, and they got 3 of them.
They did. Here's Mari.
Hey, Mari, we got to ask you some questions. Congratulations. Oh, it is so amazing to see you. We have one quick question. How does it feel to be a medalist at the World Championships?
Amazing. Just one word. It's fantastic. I just love it. I never thought this before today, so I had good skis and a bit luck, and then suddenly I'm on the podium.
Congrats, Mari. We'll catch up with you later.
Thank you.
The world champion, Johannes Høsflot Klæbo and Maiken Kamsrud Falla. What a great day for the Norwegians. It's only day 1.
Oh, it's an amazing day for the Norwegians.
All right. Oh, she just passed through. Okay, yeah. We'll talk to you maybe later. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, what a way to start the championships here in Seefeld. And we will be back in 2 days' time. The skiathlon is next. They've not got too much time to recover from today's exertions.
What excitement. So many things, so many setbacks for so many athletes in these finals. Great first day.
Norway straight to the top of the medal table. 2 golds, 1 to Falla and 1 to Klæbo. They've set the scene.